Between the two of them, the inside of Coates, Parker gets too heavily involved. And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hello everybody and welcome to VRRC for the third round of the Academy MX-5 Cup. I'm Ed Mayer and joining me in the comms box as ever is the wonderful Dave Marshall with Tom Farrell here manning all of the cameras, bringing you the best possible pictures here from a wonderful Donington Park National circuit. You can see there just under 2 miles of twisting, undulating tarmac that snakes its way through the Leicestershire countryside. So many iconic areas of the circuit, into Redgate at the start of the lap, down through the Carina curves, up the hill again, going through McLean's and Coppice. You can see this, the Academy MX-5 Cup, part of a longer style season. We obviously are here on the 21st of June at Donington Park. In a week's time, we go to my home circuit, a circuit that I really am looking forward to. Snetterton 300, and then we round out the season with trips to Thruxton and Cadwell Park. So really look forward to that later on. Here you can see what this season is forming a part of. Different disciplines for drivers to try and navigate. The first one being the Mazda MX-5, but then we have other 6-week championships in the Audi TT Cup, the Formula 3, or Formula 4 rather, and then the Caterham 420R, two very lightweight cars that are in definite stark contrast to the momentum-based driving required for these MX-5s. But they can race very well, can't they, Dave? And we saw last time out, Andy Dorman was really on song.
Yeah, we did. Andy Dorman had a great performance last time out at Silverstone, but so did Simon Reed, proving a very, very quick starter in the race. Andy Dorman set the timing sheets alight with fastest laps, I believe, in all the races and in practice. But it was Simon Reed with his quick and controlled aggression, I'm going to say, Ed. There wasn't any contact there. It was just, gambling a bit in the braking areas and really making good progress forward at the start, and that's what saw him get early leads there, and it was fantastic to see. But Mick Sutton, I tell you, was another one to keep a watch out for. So you can see the prizes on offer for this championship alone: a 2-hour one-to-one coaching session, as well as nice winners caps for first, second, third as well. So all the prizes really aimed at driver progression and trying to get them really to get to that standard that they want to be at to enter into these bigger championships with bigger prize funds and a little bit more entry fee cost as well. So yeah, it's all positive my side, Ed, and really looking forward to see how they get on with Donington.
Yeah, absolutely, really looking forward to this. And well, we are just a couple of minutes away from qualifying, aren't we, Dave? So shall we, in true Blue Peter style, before we see all the drivers going out on their hot laps, see one that we made earlier, Dave, with your hot lap around this Donington Park circuit?
That was a great lead-in. I'll spoil it then. Yeah, let's go for it. So over the line here at Donington National Circuit, we're going to grab 5th just before turn 1. You can run 4th all the way at the limiter, using all of the pit eggs there to open up turn 1 as much as possible. You can see nice and hard initial brake and then feeding off to allow the car to rotate. Down through the crane of curves here, we want to be as far left around this left-hander as possible, hugging that white line you see on the brakes nice and early to allow the car to rotate. It's important you get nice and far left and get the car as straight as possible before braking there to give the car the least work to turn. You don't want to make that corner too sharp. Up towards the right-hander here at the top of the hill, down to 3rd, nice and early brake, allow the car to rotate nice and early. Make it relatively shallow as well, don't try to make that corner too tight for yourself. 4th gear here, through onto the back straight. You can try 3rd, but I find 4th. Yes, it bogs a little bit, but it saves that gear change, and by the end of this straight is quite significantly faster. Down towards the chicane, probably the most difficult part of the track, a really hard initial application of the brake. Often let the car coast itself over that first curb. Try and take as much of that first sausage curb as possible and try not to take as much of the left. It's key, once you pop over that first curb, get that steering wheel nice and straight.
So that was the in-cockpit view of a lap around the Donington Park circuit by our very own Dave Marshall. And you touched on a few things there, didn't you, in your hot lap about what you need to get such a good run around the circuit. And it is mostly about momentum, isn't it? All through the lap, carrying that speed on these straights.
Yeah, it is. And, I've touched on it in all the other videos that I've done, that the key for this car is really to get your braking done prior to turning, and get that car's weight transition to really get the car rotated, and then you can get on the throttle. So that's one of the really, really key things. You see Luke Weston there just pitching it in, but you want to be off the brakes as you start to get the car into that apex, and he ran it out perfectly there, just getting the steering wheel nice and opened up early on the throttle, carrying all the speed down through the curves here. This corner here, up the old hairpin, I was touching on this, Ed, while we're watching the hot lap there, just when the mics were off live. I was saying that for me, this is one of them tracks where if you've got a poor lap in and you're first on the grid, it really gives you a good option if there's any sort of collisions or any sort of hold-ups further back in the grid, because you've got that uphill stretch up the old hairpin. The cars aren't that powerful. Any momentum lost at the bottom there is going to really help generate some sort of gap. So all it takes is 2 or 3 cars just to have a little brake check here and there, and it'll really aid the front group to really get away and pull a considerable gap. unlike other tracks where maybe you thought to scrub a little bit of mid-corner speed and you still be around there. You probably open up a good half second to a second lead going up Old Hairpin if you lose any momentum from the other group.
Yeah, so qualifying is of utmost importance, and Luke Weston is the first to set a time on the board of 1 minute 18.4. And now we were saying as well, weren't we, off air, to talk about what we were expecting, is that pole is probably going to be around about a mid 1 minute 17. So the drivers are just putting in their banker laps, just trying to get the best picture. Good to see Luke Weston, though, back on circuit. We didn't see him at all last time out, did we, after the fact that he was championship leader at Brands Hatch in the opening round, and even then he had no force feedback. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Luke Weston has been able to get that fixed and we can see him at full strength at this circuit.
Yeah, hopefully so. I'd actually forgot about his force feedback issue. So yeah, well, it will be interesting to find out whether that is fixed and whether, I would imagine the car is easier to drive when he can actually feel what it's doing. But yeah, a driver that I'd imagine will definitely be quick. Another bit of sort of inside knowledge that I found is these tyres actually, you expect them to turn on reasonably quickly with them being a road-based tyre. But in saying that, you don't really get the maximum grip until you're about 4 laps in. So I don't expect we'll see the absolute potential best lap times being set until maybe 4 or 5 laps in these cars. So, as we see there, Luke Weston matching Andy Dorman's previous lap there of an 18.0. Andy Dorman with a 17.7. So, yeah, the times are starting to coming down, but the car's potential, we expect to still see this car perfectly on song 4 or 5 laps into this qualifying session, which can mean actually it's going to be playing a bit of a mental game for a lot of the drivers, seeing these lap times coming up on the board, and if their car just doesn't feel ready yet, but they're trying to push for that lap time, it really forces them to maybe overdrive the car. And, that mentally can do you in quite a lot. If you're really trying to overdrive it and it's stepping out a lot, you start thinking, I can't match that lap time. And sometimes it's just patience and let the tyres come in, which it's very hard to do in qualifying.
It is, yeah. As both of us know, we've had our fair share of moments in sim racing where we just haven't had the patience, and we can see Andy Dorman, he's really trying to use all the circuit and a little bit more. And in these MX-5s, you don't want to be going onto the grass or the gravel or whatsoever. It scrubs loads of speed and means that lap times are not going to be quick. And in fact, I think we might be seeing Andy Dorman essentially backing out of this, then giving it a red hot go through the chicane to start his next flying lap in true fashion. He is currently on provisional pole position with a 1 minute 17.727. Other drivers not too far behind though. Mick Sutton less than a tenth back, the 1 minute 17.808. And then Simon Reed in third place. Well, it is those same old 3, isn't it? However, Luke Weston, he could be in the mix. Don't count him out just yet in qualifying. So we're seeing other drivers going through. And in fact, I can't see many drivers making improvements. Like you're saying, the tyres aren't just coming in.
Yeah, it's one of them things where, drivers are maybe trying to find a little bit of space out on track.
Sorry, I just noticed Andy Dorman's gone purple.
Oh, he has. Sector 1, Andy Dorman purple. So this could be a really good lap by Andy Dorman here if he can hook up this remaining sector. But we've seen this chicane in the very last sector. That chicane's a bit, if you either get it right or get it wrong. There's no sort of middle ground with it. So it's all going to be dependent on this, and it happens that fast. If we're still on board with Andy Dorman here, you'll see how fast you have to think between brake, turning, rotation, throttle and looking through the corner. So on the brakes, nice and hard here, down 2 gears, throw it in, try to not take too much curb there. If you clip that with your left wheels, then your lap's almost done for. And actually he's lost time in sector 2, so this will be interesting to see whether he goes better. He does. 17.6 currently is his pole lap that he's done. I tell you what, Ed, it's quite worrying the fact he's got more time left in that.
Yeah, but that could weigh on Andy Dorman's mind. He might rue this missed chance. It looks good for the time being. However, there's plenty to go in this qualifying session. He left time on the table. Those last 2 sectors were not up to scratch at all. We know he can go faster. He's trying to find the limits and again runs wide coming out of Old Hairpin this time. Loses out on the run up the hill. That's not a very good first sector for Andy Dorman. So I'm not sure if he's going to be improving this time by, and that's the thing. If you make a mistake early on the lap, you basically have to write off the rest of your lap, don't you? And it is relatively long around this Donington Park circuit for the drivers to try and get that mentality sort of nailed down for the next laps.
Yeah, it is, and you commented there on Andy Dorman, the Sector 1 wasn't brilliant, and actually, looking at the timing sheets, he lost 3/10 there by going up that whole old hairpin, running a little bit wide, not quite enough the momentum. By the end of Sector 1, he was 3/10 down his previous lap, so yeah, it's always a bit of one of them things where if you throw away your lap that early on, you've got to drive the whole way around the rest of the lap before you can set another lap time, and then you're just constantly then thinking about your mistake or you're messing up. So yeah, qualifying really is quite a big mental game, and if you can be mentally strong qualifying, your results tend to really help that. Mick Sutton, actually, I'm noticing, has gone quickest he's done in Sector 1, about a 10th off what Andy Dorman's done here. So let's see if he managed to taking a lot of inside curb there. I'd be surprised if this manages to be as quick as if he kept that nice and clean there. Yeah, not quite 18.0 as opposed to his 17.8 of his best lap. Andy Dorman going currently fastest ever in Sector 1 again, so Andy's really starting to hook it up. A bit wide there at the very top of the hill, so I don't imagine he'll beat his lap with this one. Luke Weston is a driver that we're looking at. He's about in that sort of early 18 at the moment. He hasn't broken that 17 barrier yet, but if he does, I tell you what, Luke Weston could be a real one to watch for this race one.
Yeah, Andy Dorman purple in the first sector again, but then the second sector not good at all. Again, another amber sector, not a personal best, not a session best either for Andy Dorman. He's going to make his way up across the line. Is there an improvement? No, he's not able to get past that, but we say that as if he's missing out on pole position. He's still sitting there on the top. The likes of Mick Sutton and Luke Weston haven't been able to find an answer to him. Meanwhile, Gabriel Likens, well, he could be liking. No, he doesn't. Oh, unfortunate. He was going so well, and then I think he just got a bit too eager, didn't he? Over the curbs, and well, from what could have been a brilliant lap, has turned a little bit sour.
Yeah, so
Mick Sutton's lost it at the chicane as well.
So this could be a little bit what I was referring to last week about running the delta on the screen, so seeing whether you're up or down on your previous lap time or your best lap time. For me, I always run it off. For me, it's what I prefer. I don't like to be distracted. And Kobe had 2 green sectors, so I guarantee on his delta he would have been a good chunk up. And I bet going to the chicane he was going, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. And that's the times when you're not thinking about your line choice, you're just thinking about not messing up instead, which, you can't afford to have them distractions. So I prefer to turn it off. We see Simon Reed setting the fastest last sector of anyone. So Simon Reed has got real pace in the last sector here through the chicane. Last lap doing a 17.8. So these lap times are starting to come down, and this is starting to get very, very close between the top 4 drivers, really. All separate within 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, and that's something that is really going to bode well for the race, isn't it? You often see that lead pack trying to break away and then tussling it amongst themselves in the latter stages, so we could be in for another excellent fight later on. But don't count out Simon Reed just yet, doing a personal best in the first sector, and that does set you up nicely for the rest. What can Simon Reed do as he makes his way up through Coppice? Not sure how well it's modelled in the sim, but actually if you're there in real life, that's where the planes take off from, so sometimes they leave a little bit of fluid, a little bit of oil on the circuit. It means it's very slippery, especially after it's just rained. So
perfect.
Simon Reed, perfect there through the chicane, and his second sector was a personal best as well. So what can he manage? He comes across the line 1,000 off of the front row. Mick Sutton hangs on by a thread to second place. Simon Reed, though, he's found some good pace.
He has. You know what? He's starting to find this rhythm that he needed to get early on there. Definitely looking like he's got the pace to be on the front row. We need to see some sort of movement here by Mick Sutton to see whether he can find any more speed. He'll probably see that on the timing sheets and go, wow, Sam Reed's put that within 1,000 of us. I need to get me head down here and make a bit more of a gap to make it further away from Andy Dorman. I think he's probably sitting there. He's in the pits currently, so I think he's probably just sitting there and biding his time, thinking we'll wait and see whether anyone does anything enough. And if not, I'm just going to take this opportunity to rest and get ready for race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you need a bit of a rest on the longest day of the year.
Sector 2, Mick Sutton, fastest of anyone.
Oh no, well spotted. Yeah, Mick Sutton then. Very quick, and it's the Sector 2 that drivers have been struggling at getting improvements for. We just come in at the last part of the chicane as he runs up to the line. What is it going to be from Mick Sutton? It looked like a good run out. It's a personal best, but ever so close. Not enough to get pole position. 17.663, 400th of a second, separating first from second. This is really heating up now, and Andy Dorman, is he going to live to regret his mistakes early on in the session? Because he hasn't found the pace again. That he left time, he might be paying the price.
Yeah, you know what? This is probably where Andy's looking at the timing sheets going, you know what, I thought I had that in a bit in the bag there, a 2/10 gap around this circuit, a little bit of breathing room. Mick putting that lap in is really going to play with you mentally, going, you know what, he's got the pace to keep up with me here. And, you know, we've seen Mick, he is a good, strong overtaker. He isn't afraid to put his car up the inside, and Andy will know that. Simon Reed, yet again, another really strong starter, starting third on the grid. And Luke Weston, we voted him driver of the day in round 1, and we saw the way he drove it in without force feedback. So be really interested to see what he can do around here.
Yeah, exactly. Another driver we're seeing though, Simon Thorpe. He's just set a personal best in the first sector. Sets you up nicely, doesn't it, for the rest of the lap if you can get that nailed down. Not quite an improvement in the second, but this chicane is where you can make up all the difference. Simon Thorpe, he's going to be committed now. He can see the delta if he's got it on. He goes over the curb nicely, doesn't unsettle the car. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there on exit. As I say that he doesn't unsettle the car, he goes and does it. And as he races up to the line, I don't think Simon Thorpe is going to improve. No, he doesn't. And he starts his final lap of the session with 30 seconds to go. Drivers, as they start laps, can finish them. Although, I don't think Simon Thorpe is going to be finishing this with any meaningful amount of pace. So now we do come into the last stages of qualifying. I think the last driver to come across the line in time has been Teddy Hines. So, he from 8th place, what could he do? Well, we'll focus on that a little bit later on because we're looking at this man, Simon Reed. And as he makes his way out of Old Hairpin, the car looked settled.
Quick.
It didn't look too bad, did it? And that is a personal best. You can see, isn't it, the momentum he gets up the hill. That's going to carry him all the way through this second sector as he comes through the cleans and then up
that looks good as well.
Coppice. It's looking very good, doesn't it, from Simon Reed, getting it inch perfect. Can't afford to throw it away now and again. Look at how settled the car was. Going over that right-hander, clipped the apex nicely. Gives him the best possible run down this straight, and now just the hairpin to go for Simon Reed. Just the hairpin potentially between himself and a provisional pole position. Let's see, can he get the
little slide
nicely? A little bit of a slide, but it's just a little bit, nothing too major. He's carrying momentum still, Simon Reed up to the line, but it's not an improvement. A 1 minute 18.135 is not good enough for Simon Reed to improve up to second place. Whereas there are others. Well, there's no other improvements out on circuit. Last driver to come across the line is Simon Thorpe. And that is qualifying done. Andy Dorman will find himself start the first race of the evening from pole position.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can drag him in and have a quick word with him. But yeah, looking at that there, Simon Reed coming through that last chicane, you saw he attacked the first curb and just landed with a bit too much right-hand down lock on, and the car just had a little bit of a snap on landing, and that was enough to really ruin that lap. So yeah, very, very fine margins here to get the perfect lap together, but Andy's managed to do it.
Yeah, and Andy joins us in the comms box. Pole position in Silverstone, pole position around Donington. You must be very happy with that result.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that tonight. I wasn't sure I was going to keep onto it in the latter stages of that because Mick's very close behind us.
Yeah, and did you think you had any time left in you? Did you think you had an answer to Mick if he was going to go faster, or was that it? Was that as fast as you think you could go around the circuit?
I think we might be able to find a little bit more, possibly.
Yeah, we noticed that there was a little bit of time potentially on the table in the final couple of sectors, which I guess is a little bit of comfort for you for the second race and hoping to break away. But we know that the slipstream is strong in these Mazdas. What are you thinking in the first race?
just try to stay out in front, hopefully, or get in the slipstream and get back past.
Well, I think if you can stay in front, then that should be a good way to win the race, Andy. You're thinking very smart there, and best of luck for this first race.
Yep, thanks a lot.
So that was Andy Dorman. Again, Dave, not much one for long words, doesn't give us much to work off of, but still, a few words, but he knows what to do. He's talking on the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's about horizontal, isn't he? He's one of the most laid-back people I think you can talk to. You know, he's just putting on pull with pressure for Mick, and he's like, yeah, I thought he might be getting us there. But yeah, he clearly saying that with a cup of tea in his hand, I think. Yeah, you know what? Andy's putting himself, or he's not putting himself down, but he's not building himself up enough. You know, to get a sub 18 round this lap is very, very good pace. So from to go and put a 17.6 on the board, and you know, Mick's done the same, and Simon Reed. It is a very, very good and competitive time.
Yeah, definitely. We do have 3 minutes till the start of the race, so we're going to give a quick advert, and then we'll be in with all of the action. So stay tuned. So, welcome back. Not too long till the first races of the evening gets underway. Just a minute till the green flag drops. And we can see the cars make their way into Red Gate for the first time in anger this evening. Andy Dorman from pole position with Mick Sutton alongside him on the front row in second place. Not the longest run to the first corner, but we have seen Mick Sutton get very good getaways and likes to put the pressure on the leader into the first corner as well. Simon Reed's there in the background to pick up the pieces should the top two get involved in a bit of a tussle, as well as Luke Weston. Don't count him out just yet. Maybe not getting the best qualifying performance he was hoping for, but we saw how good he is around Brands. Yeah, he's going to be a good shout.
He's got fantastic race pace, doesn't he? And it'd be interesting to see here whether or not he gives a little bit of an insight here. You know, I said to the drivers, have a few practice runs to the first corner from the start-finish line, because that'll give you a bit of a sense of the sort of speed you'll have going towards turn one and when you can brake.
Yeah, so not long till we get underway now. You can hear the engines start to rise, the lights come out, and we go racing here for the first time this evening. A good start there, isn't it, from Mick Sutton going around the outside of Andy Dorman. They're making their way into the first corner. Andy along the inside line, though. He's going to force Mick Sutton to go the long way around. Mick, I think, could be vulnerable for a move on the inside, but he covers it off late, doesn't he, against Simon Reed, who has to sort of, I guess, take it on the chin and slot back, try and get the run down through the Craner curves for the first time. They're going side by side. Can he force it around the outside, get it in the inside? For the odd hairpin, no, he can't. And who's that losing the rear of the car? That's Simon Thorpe, spins it the way around, but regains it rather quickly. He doesn't lose out much time. You can see the rest of the field there. In the front of your shot, and we can see Kobe Likens now looking for a move on. The car in front, that is Sam Milner. No moves being made just yet. They're just getting into a rhythm, and as we can see, It is Andy Dorman from Mick Sutton, from Simon Reed. Luke Weston dropping back a little bit from the front. And oh, that's a mistake there from Mick Sutton. He's lost it coming out of Coppice. And he's going to lose several places all in one mistake. Massive, massive cost for that little misjudgment.
Yeah, that looked like he maybe just ran a little bit wide at the end of Coppice, getting maybe a little bit too early on the throttle there and really paying the price, getting wide on the grass there. And ended up dropping down now to 6th place on the grid, so he's got a bit of work to do. Andy Dorman, Simon, they're not too far ahead, you can see, with a nice late lunge there up the inside. Not really a lot that Sam Milner there can actually do about that move. Great move back. Already Mick Sutton with the moves to try and regain these places. That was impressive, that, Ed.
Yeah, very well. But he's going to have to, isn't he? He's going to have to get up through the field quickly, because up in front, Andy Dorman is trying all he can to extend his gap in the front. And there's a spin up in front. Whoa, that was Kobe Likens sliding across the circuit. Mick Sutton taking evasive action. He nearly lost it himself, don't forget. So he's up into 4th already as Mick. But maybe the heart rate's going a little bit. You can see twitching from the car. Might have overcooked his tyres just a touch. They'll come back down to temperature, though. They always tend to do in these MX-5s. Still, Mick Sutton able to get through just about. And I think we've got a safety car here. Safety car. So the field bunches right up. That's not what Andy Dorman was hoping for. He was really looking to build the gap and try and get away from the rest of the field. Mick Sutton, though, he's going to be glad, because that's meant his mistake isn't as costly.
I mean, what does that mean? It means he was 2nd, so he's lost 2 positions there, but he's right back on the pace. He's got back onto the back of them with the safety car. So actually, this has played into his hands really quite a lot with it being a safety car. I believe that was with Kobe Likens, I think, finding the wall out the old hairpin there. Just a safety car was needed just to basically help the pack punch back up and bring people back into it. So, yeah, as he said, not what Andy Dorman needed. And yeah, we've seen the way Simon Reed attacks. He's definitely going to be one to watch it when the safety car lights go out and we get back under racing, aren't we?
Yeah, we certainly are. So, Andy Dorman, what can he do from the restart? That's still on for the safety car, so the pack is going to remain bunched up. Luke Weston as well. He's going to be in with a show, isn't he, on the restart? I think, if I remember rightly, when we had the safety car at Brands Hatch, he was pretty quick off of the mark. So keep your eyes open from 3rd place. All of these drivers at the front, they're very good, aren't they? They're very aware of everything that goes on, everything that goes into a race. But I can't see actually the lights on the safety car, so they could be coming in this lap.
They could well indeed be coming in this lap, but tell you what will be interesting. We did, the lights are out, so it's going to be down to Andy Dorman when he decides to go here. No overtake before the start-finish line, but he can decide when to go and set the pace. I believe, has he gone there? I think he has gone. So, has he gone? No, he's still holding the pack. It's hard to tell actually, but I think he has gone. It's just the other 2 read it that well. They've gone with him. Simon Reed, look, with the run out of the chicane, this is going to be a huge advantage going down to turn 1. In fact, Simon Reed's already got his nose alongside Andy Dorman into turn 1. This is going to be a move on the brakes, and will Luke Weston follow his way through?
Well, Luke is certainly going to try it, isn't there? Is there contact on the apex? I think there might have been. Oh, a slide as well up in front from our race leader, Simon Reed. This makes his way through there. Andy Dorman barely hangs on to 2nd place, but he does lose out, most importantly, on the race lead. That goes the way of Simon Reed. He judged the restart to perfection, didn't he? Able to get the jump on Andy Dorman, and, well, Andy's looking more behind than he is in front, because Luke Weston, he's going to try and go for it now into, this long right-hander that is a little bit longer than you think. You want to apex a little bit later. In the corner, tries to lure you into, but again, Andy Dorman just is able to hold on. All of this fighting, all of this scrapping means that he's losing out, and a driver that has lost out. Again, Kobe Likens struggling with this circuit. It's just not gelling for him at the moment.
Yeah, it could be a little bit. What I was going to say is cold tyres as well. We did see it where drivers were getting caught out a little bit on cold tyres, and I think Simon Reed just seems to be a little bit more switched on with, chancing the grip levels and really pushing it. We saw him getting sideways out of turn one, managed to hold it, but you can see him opening a gap here, and that's not necessarily his actual overall pace in the car. It's just I think he's taking a little bit more chance with how much grip's actually there. And as we see, Andy Dorman last lap, he's half a second quicker already that last lap than what Dorman is. Mick Sutton really starting to make progress. He didn't quite catch on to the start as quick as the front three there, but Mick Sutton really starting to make headway back onto this leading three-pack again. And I tell you what, if he gets even a sniff of a podium here, he'll put his nose straight up the inside.
Oh yeah, we've seen Mick Sutton, haven't we? Time and time again, going for those lunges, going for those moves. And well, going for the move here is Luke Weston down the inside of Andy Dorman. Andy Dorman is able to hold it around the outside. Great stuff from the pair of them, but down into Coppice. The squeeze is there on the apex from Andy Dorman, not leaving much room for Luke Weston there. And all of a sudden, Mick Sutton's going to try and find it. There's contact here between the pair of them. And our pole sitter, once race leader Andy Dorman, finds himself in the wall. That could be another safety car, I'm not sure. But Mick Sutton, he's suddenly profited massively. He's up into second place.
Yeah, that to me looked like a very mistimed dive right on Mick Sutton's behalf. It looked like he tried to get the right-hand cut. I believe it was on Andy Dorman on the right-hand side with Luke Weston on the left. And he caught the back of Dorman's car into the side of Luke Weston. Andy span it off right, and Mick managed to brake and just capitalise on that. It wasn't nice to see that, if I'm honest. Andy's lost out big time there, not really through any fault of his own there, a complete innocent bystander. Sam Milner, though, has managed to get himself up the grid a bit because of that. Whether or not he's going to have quite enough to get onto the back of Luke Weston, we'll wait and see. We'll have a look at a few lap times when people start to get a little bit more in the rhythm and then tyre pressures and temps really start to come back in.
Yeah, so we've had dramas, haven't we? Andy Dorman, from doing so well at the start of the race, a little bit of misjudgment potentially on Mick Sutton's behalf, has seen him really plummet down the order as well, though. Is there damage on his car? On board, it all seems to be looking fine. He did come into the Armco barriers, but I don't think it's done too much to him. As well, though, don't forget, involved was Luke Weston. He was well in the mix, wasn't he? Involved in that tussle. Has he got any damage? I think, well, looking at his lap times, he's a little bit slower than our race leader in second place, Mick Sutton. There could be some issues plaguing Luke Weston's car there, as Mick Sutton, well, he sets the fastest middle sector of anyone, but not the fastest lap of the race so far. Those extra, I think it's one extra bonus point for fastest race lap. That's going the way of Simon Reed with a 1 minute 18.1.
Yeah, I think Andy Dorman now, though, is definitely going to be on the charge. I would really think that Andy's going to probably go in and post a 17. He's going to be fired up now. I mean, you sound him laid back, but I'd like to hear what he's saying now. He's being taken out of the race. It'd be interesting to see whether he's not quite as laid back now, Ed. But yeah, if he's hungry for that 17 and even that extra point, it doesn't sound like a lot, but championships can be swayed by a point. So that extra point is really going to help Andy here, and I imagine he'll get onto the back of Kobe Likens here and Simon Thorpe reasonably quickly, and just on pace alone should manage to get past them relatively quickly. As we notice, Simon Thorpe just getting a bit too early on the throttle there, going wide. He's going to do well to keep this out the wall. Oh, there's a slight collision there. That's a relatively hard impact of about 20 miles an hour into the wall. Let's hope his steering's reasonably okay there. We might see him just pull in the pits this lap and wait until next lap to get that reverse grid, though.
Yeah, well, he's going to be in a good spot, isn't he? Yes, like you mentioned, for that reverse grid. But, well, that's a reverse grid, isn't it? It's not going to be the victory he would be hoping for on the road in this first race. So it's tricky, isn't it, when you have these setbacks as well? Is that going to weigh on his mind as a driver coming into this second race, even though he will have a favourable reverse grid? Do you reckon there could still be a mental element that he's going to have to get over?
Oh yeah, I mean racing's racing, but thinking of a championship is a completely different thing. And you know, this is our third race in to a 6-race series. You know, so this race determines the halfway mark. You know, Andy's definitely going to be, I think, thinking of the championship. He needs to read this well. Kobe Lyken's doing very well to hit the brakes there and keep out the way of Andy Dorman and spin the car the opposite way. We noticed Kobe getting very sideways a few times there, getting a little clip on the grass. There was nearly a very near unfortunate event again for Andy Dorman, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Andy now, though, nice bit of clear track. This is where we'll see Andy put his foot down. Watch for the fastest lap happen now.
Yeah, so let's see this fight for the fastest lap potentially through as well as there could be a fight for the lead. Don't forget there's still loads of time remaining between this and the end of the race. Simon Reed is getting caught slowly but surely by Mick Sutton, who again, Mick sets a personal best in the first sector, getting good momentum all the way up the hill. This could be a great way to end the race as Andy Dorman, like you said, battling for the fastest lap, sets a 17.884, able to try and take away some points from the likes of Mick Sutton and various other championship rivals, because we have seen championships settled in all motorsport disciplines by a single point.
Yeah, exactly that. Actually, a driver we haven't talked about, Alex Bennett here on screen, chasing down Sam Milner. Both these drivers putting in really solid efforts actually for a really good drive at the moment. Good points, kept themselves out of trouble. You can see how clean the cars are. There isn't a bash on them. So yeah, great drive by both these in 4th and 5th place as well. Maybe not quite the pace of the top 3, but still phenomenal drive. You can see actually Teddy Hines just out the shot there, coming along the start-finish line now. Also great drive, and yet again not quite the pace to get onto the back of 4th and 5th here, but a good steady drive and just building up confidence. It can really mean it's a good bit of confidence and practice to go forward into race 2.
Yeah, it is. And well, we saw Teddy Hines, didn't we, last time out, pulling off some excellent racing last time in Silverstone, wasn't there? His move going into, I think, was it Brooklands and Luffield? That little dive that he made on the inside was one of the highlights of the evening, wasn't it? So Teddy Hines having a great little race in 6th place as Andy Dorman. Oh, he's set another purple sector, this time purple in the first sector. But Mick Sutton and Simon Reed reply with purples in the second. I tell you, all these drivers are suddenly finding big pace as the fuel comes out, as the car gets lighter. Who knows, they might be beating their qualifying times.
Yeah, you're right there. Like, you know, the fuel's coming out of the car a little bit, probably helping the car transition a little bit better, a bit more weight on the front of the car instead of it being a bit more neutral. Also, the tyres, we know them are really well primed. Simon Reed with a 17.89, so not quite enough. You're not taught much, but not quite enough to take a fastest lap there from Andy Dorman. But I tell you what, Simon Reed, I think this is in retaliation to Mick Sutton putting the pressure on. Mick's got the push on in P2, doing a 17.9 last lap. So I think this is Simon just trying to manage that gap and going, blinking heck, Mick Sutton's coming up the grid here. He's working his way. I need to get my head down and go and stop looking in my mirror.
Yeah, it is. It's all about just trying to realise what's going on around you and have the awareness of the fights that you should be taking and ones that you probably shouldn't. So we're going to see Mick Sutton later on in the race go for a charge, go for the position. He's closing in. The gap isn't too great between the pair of them, just around about a second, drops between the second and just under a second, so could see it come to a crescendo in the end. Meanwhile, Andy Dorman, he's caught up to the rear of Teddy Hines, so this could be a move for 6th place. So you can see, though, Teddy Hines, he is going defensive and then squeezes out. Oh, my word, is that a squeeze potentially on? Oh, my word, and all of a sudden, Mick Sutton's got in the lead of the race. Drama everywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, two sets of drama happened right at the same time there. It'd be interesting. That must have been a bad run out the chicane by Simon Reed there. That's allowed Mick Sutton to get the run. Just looking at the time. Yeah, it was. Looking at the timing sheet, Mick Sutton 18.4, which is a relatively standard sector 3 there, where Simon Reed was a 19.4. So Simon Reed losing nearly a second in that last sector. That had to be the chicane. Yeah, and then we saw Teddy Hines and Andy Dorman.
Simon Reed sends it down the inside of Mick Sutton. Sorry to cut across you there, but that was an excellent move, was it? Into McLean's or McLean's, whichever way you pronounce it. I can't remember, but I call it McLean's. But great little overtake there from Simon Reed to take back the position. No, Teddy Hines is in the wall. Teddy Hines off the circuit. He was in a fight with Andy Dorman. I think there might have been a collision. I can see, yep, there was collision with Andy Dorman. Who was to blame there? We can't really see. We don't have the ability to go for replays. But again, Andy Dorman in the wars in this first race.
Yeah, you know what? That must have been through Old Hairpin. It's a blooming fast corner, that is. So it'll be interesting. Mick Sutton there, you see, just trying to get the cut back there on Simon Reed, but did well to gauge that there. He knew he turned in a little bit early. The gap wasn't there, but look at this. Going to be 2x2 down through Craner Curves here, down towards the Old Hairpin. This is a brave move. This is a really, really brave move.
Yeah, brave stuff indeed. But I've seen from our one of our race directors, Scott Thorne, he's telling us that it seems to be a coming together between Donington Lines. Doesn't really tell us anything about who instigated it. So from the sounds of it, it could have just been a racing incident at the Old Hairpin, as you mentioned. But look at that, Mick Sutton, he sees the gap and he goes for it. Great stuff there. Is he going to get the inside of a coppice? Yes, he is. But will he get the position? I'll tell you what, no, he won't. Wow, Simon Reed sends it around the outside. And look at Luke Weston. Yeah, he's arriving on the scene and he's getting the slipstream off of Simon Reed in front and gets the position. So Mick Sutton, holding the inside line, lost the pace, lost the drive out of the corner. And he's found himself going from first down into third in the space of, what, a couple of corners.
Yeah, you know what this really highlights? This really just shows how the lack of momentum or the lack of drive as soon as you start a battle. Simon Thorpe there getting it a little bit wrong up the Old Hairpin. Yet really just shows that any sort of battling or any loss of momentum, look at how well it brought Luke Weston right up into this battle. Simon Reed a few laps ago was a second ahead of Mick Sutton, who was about 2 seconds ahead of Luke Weston. Now 3 minutes later, and we've got Luke Weston battling for the lead.
I know, this is great stuff, isn't it? And it's not done yet because he's going for it, isn't he? He's really getting the pressure, piling it on the back of Simon Reed. And like we mentioned at the start, Simon Reed is very quick with his race pace, but so is Luke Weston. Luke, not the best qualifier, but in the races, he just comes alive. He knows where to put the car and how to race cleanly, but also, most importantly, race quickly. So, as we come on to what will be the start of the final lap, I believe, we're going to have a close fight between Simon Reed and Luke Weston. Don't forget, you can see at the top of your screen, who's that? That's Mick Sutton getting close, and Mick Sutton off the road into the tyre barriers.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he needs to get on the road quick.
Commentator coming into great effect there.
Yeah, Sam Milner is going to be on Mick's tail if there's any sort of damage there. That, yet again, that last chicane just caused a bit of havoc there, getting a bounce and not quite the right feel. It won't do Mick any good. No, that Sam Milner's just done the fastest lap he's managed to do. So he's now in the 18s lapping well. So Mick Sutton needs to get his head down here and make sure that Sam doesn't get onto the back of him.
Yeah, he does. So let's have a look at the car. Mick Sutton, he doesn't look from that point to be suffering too much damage. Meanwhile, Andy Dorman's on the charge, isn't he? Closing in, trying to find a way around Alex Bennett. This will be for 5th place, and a very respectable 5th place for Andy Dorman, having to make up as many positions as he has all the race long. He gets a good run, doesn't he? Out of Old Hairpin, up the hill he goes. Looks to the inside, which will become the outside. Is he going to be able to get the move made? I think he has. So Andy Dorman up into 5th place, but further in front we go to see our race leaders. They're coming through the chicane for the final time, and it will be Simon Reed, barring any dramas. There's none for him, so he comes across the line to take race victory here this evening. The first race goes the way of Simon Reed ahead of Luke Weston there. Great fight from him, up from 4th into 2nd place. Mick Sutton bravely hangs on to 3rd with a little bit of damage as Sam Milner crosses in 4th. Andy Dorman from 1st down to last and back up to 5th. Great, determined, spirited drive from him ahead of Alex Bennett in 6th, with a couple more drivers still to come. Got this man here, Kobe Likens, who, as we've said, has really struggled to come to grips with this circuit, but he will be coming home for a very respectable 7th place, and most importantly, some good, strong championship points. Kobe Likens crosses the line there in the 7th place, with just a couple more drivers to go. We've got Teddy Hines and Simon Thorpe to go to round out the 9 finishers of this first race of the evening. Teddy Hines comes across in 8th place. He'll be starting on the front row in 2nd place in the 2nd race, with Simon Thorpe 9th place. He will be your pole sitter. And, well, would you like to run us through the post-race interviews, Dave?
Yes, we'll jump to our interviews now, and we'll jump, I believe, is Mick Sutton there? I believe he's just in the chat there now for our interviews. Are you there, Mick?
I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, just managed to hold on to that there with huge drama in the last chicane, very near the end of the race. I take the car wasn't too badly damaged from that, but just a bounce through the chicane there that put you on the grass, and then a bit of a passenger, I take it.
Yeah, just once you're on that grass there, that's it. You just got to hope that you don't hit the wall as hard as it looks like you're going to. So yeah, but I mean, I was annoyed. I probably gave Simon a bit too much of an easy game there when I had the lead, and I gave him the lead back. I didn't feel confident enough to turn in. So anyway, look, it is what it is. It's another 3rd. I don't know what happened on the back straight there between Luke and Andy. I came out the corner and I was going a bit faster than both of them. I'm not entirely sure what happened there on the straight, but if I did touch somebody, then I apologise.
Well, I'm sure it'll be looked at after the race if there's anything not right there. But other than that, you're right in what you said. It's another podium position. It seems like you've got the consistency there for keep bringing it home in really high positions. And I take that's what you're hoping for in race 2 as well.
Well, I'm hoping for a win. Obviously, just the first win would be nice, but instead of P3 all the time. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. We've got to go through the pack, but we'll see what happens. That's great.
Well, good job there, Mick. We'll move on to our P2 finisher, Luke Weston. We saw you in round 1, without force feedback. You weren't here for round 2. Do we have any updates on whether the wheel is fixed and whether it feels like it's working?
Yeah, we're all fixed. Yeah, we're all working again, so that's good.
And I take the car's quite a bit easier to drive when you've got a full working wheel.
Yeah, it's night and day, really. It's much more enjoyable to drive as well. I have to say, it's much better.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race from your point of view. Pulling it through from qualifying and just picking your way through the race to bring it home in 2nd. I take it that's a bit your plan for race 2. Is it just to let things develop, or are you going to use a bit of aggression to really help get through the pack early on in this race?
Of course, I want to try and get through as fast as I can. That's ideally what everyone's going to want to be doing from the back here. But yeah, there's no point going too overly aggressive going into the first corner. As I say, it's everyone's going to be wanting to make positions, but I don't think there's much point sending ridiculous moves at the first corner when you've got 20 minutes to do it.
Well, it was a good race 1, and looking forward to seeing what you can do in race 2 there, Luke.
Thanks, Dave.
Moving on to our P1 finisher, Simon, really, it's starting to get into a bit of a pattern this, where you're qualifying sort of 1 or 2 positions back from where you finish.
Yeah, I think qualifying is something I need to work on. I mean, in practice, I managed to do a 17.6 dead, which if I'd managed to pull that out in qualifying would have put me on pole. But, it's just stringing that perfect lap together.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's a bit of a pressure thing, or is it just a case of maybe you're not entirely focused on them quali laps and thinking more about the bigger picture regarding, your race or your other competitors' lap times, or, is it a focus thing, you reckon?
I think it's cracking under the pressure of qualifying. There's no pressure when you're practicing, but when you're qualifying, you make a little mistake, and you sort of kick yourself for it. Oh, that was going to be a fast lap, and then and you just keep making the little mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race one. Mick Sutton seemed to have a little bit of a closing battle towards you, going on, relatively mid-race. I take that was that looking in the mirror a little bit there, or just not quite getting the laps together that Mick was putting?
Yeah, well, I was certainly watching him in the mirror. Mick is usually, can put in faster laps than I can. But yeah, I sort of started making a few mistakes, and that got Mick right up behind me.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing what you can do in race 2. Anything like race 1, I tell you what, it could be all action, I think. Good luck, Simon.
Thank you very much. I hope so.
Well, I think you'd agree, Ed, that, Simon seems actually relatively chilled out about that. He's getting in a habit and a routine of making it count in the races instead of qualifying, which, at the end of the day, that's what bring the points in.
Yeah, plus, speaking of points, we know he can make his way up through the field, and I believe you get a point for every position you gain from each race. So starting at the back, plenty of chances there to gain some extra championship points for Simon Reed as we make our way into this second race of the evening for VRRC. Let us know in the YouTube chat who you're cheering for. I can see Arthur Bell there in the chat, I think, cheering on Simon Reed, as I believe he often tends to do. What can Simon do from the back? Well, we'll find out. But for now, let's focus to the front. Let's see Simon Thorpe. Oh, a jump start that is from Teddy Hines. So Teddy Hines, he's going to have to take a trip to the pits. Simon Thorpe from pole position, off he goes. Doesn't need to worry too much about the car around his outside. But what on earth was that? Was that just a misjudgment there from Teddy Hines?
That might have just been a little bit of a clutch lift there when he shouldn't have done. But Kobe Likens, this is a huge collision.
Andy Dorman.
Yeah, so Andy Dorman there getting involved in something near the start. I'm trying to read what actually went on there, but I think we saw a car on the grass on the inside of turn 1, and obviously that's always going to be a recipe for disaster when there's another set of cars trying to brake. That is a huge moment, and I believe that will be a safety car.
Yeah, that could be. It seems they've all just about got going, but safety cars you can see on the screen, so the pack will bunch up once more. And does that actually help out
Teddy Hines?
Does that help him out? Because he's able to come into the pits and serve the penalty under safety car, right?
Yeah. So you're able to do a drive-through through safety car, and then because the pack's going a little bit slower, he'll be able to catch up a little bit faster than what he would if it was at race pace. Whether that's going to be enough to see him actually get back on the back of the pack, I wouldn't have thought so, if I'm honest.
Well, we'll certainly be able to keep our eyes open for that. It's just a drive-through. It's not going to be the end of the world. Cars go through and he'll go through. The speed differential won't be too bad. If it was, say, a stop and hold or a stop and go, definitely would see a lot more time being lost. And yet, inevitably, Teddy Hines makes his way into the pits. May as well follow him through to see how quickly he can get through. Meanwhile, look at this up in front. Actually, Kobe Likens, I didn't realize he got up into the lead. Wow, very good. And look, Teddy Hines, through the pits he goes.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's definitely going to be right on the back, isn't he? He's going to be not losing out on any positions whatsoever.
And you know what the big thing here is, Ed? Yes, he's going to have the pace to catch up to the back of the grid, but also he's going to keep temping his tyres because he's pushing the car when it's during safety car lap, as opposed to all these other cars that are weaving. So he's really getting the heat in the tyre, like through Old Hairpin there, really getting the load on the tyres. I think Teddy's tyres are going to be the best out of this grid come start the race.
Yeah, I don't think Alex Bennett's going to be too happy about that news, though, is he? Well, we can see Teddy Hines might be a little bit more relieved that his mistake at the start isn't as heavily punished as he was maybe fearing. Well, what can he do from the back? And what can this man do from second place? Simon Thorpe
I
was our
think
pole sitter,
Kobe's
wasn't
gone.
he?
Is Kobe gone?
No, he's still weaving. He's warming his tyres up. Kobe's not gone at all. The safety car is going in this lap. So maybe Kobe's going to really back the pack up and then decide to go, which he does. He does the little bit of tyre weaving, maybe faking out some of the drivers. And I'll tell you what, the mind games might have paid dividends here as Kobe Likens has a gap to work with coming into the first corner. Definitely a better restart than we saw in the first race for our pole sitter this time, right? Kobe Likens, he might just be finding the grips of this circuit. Meanwhile, look who else is involved in the mix. Sam Milner and Andy Dorman, most importantly, coming out of Redgate they go, and Andy Dorman with a monstrous run. He's going to take third place. This is, well, Andy's best chance, isn't it, of scoring some good points this evening, getting that race victory, because his nearest rivals, Reed and Sutton, and, well, they're all a little bit further back from him.
Oh, what a move that was there by Luke Weston to have the overspeed and carry it around the outside of Sam Reed going up the hill here. Will he manage to get the cut in front? He has indeed. Look at that. What a perfect defensive move. Get the get the move done back across the front of Simon Reed there under the brakes, and there can't be anything Simon can do there. He couldn't retaliate or do anything to try and keep his advantage there. Brilliant move there by Luke Weston.
Yeah, great stuff there. And look at this, 3 wide again down this back straight. We've seen it end in tears before. Andy Dorman down the middle, and oh my word, it's again. Lightning has struck twice and he's embedded in the hard walls there. That's a big hit for Andy Dorman. I can see there's a lot of damage on that car. That could be race ending, you know, but from what I saw, there wasn't that much movement from Mick Sutton. They were alongside, then all of a sudden, be it a bit of desync perhaps, but Andy Dorman's car really reacted quite violently there.
Yeah, I think that was a case of 3 drivers all getting sort of squeezed and bunched together in the braking zone, and I think it was probably accelerated the fact it wasn't a braking zone. 2 wheels on the grass on the left hand side, and from that point there, your right wheels are braking properly, your left wheels aren't, and then you're a passenger. Yeah, as we can see, Andy Dorman there has actually parked it up, so whether or not this means, is he trying to get it parked so he can repair the car? We might be seeing there. You know what? And that is really unfortunate for Andy Dorman. Them concrete pillars don't move, and that car's going to have a lot of damage on board. This is where Simon Reed will probably see this and think this is a good championship opportunity for him to bring on some really good points here. The same as Luke Weston. This is going to be probably a case of bring home the points, be secure, and don't do any moves. That could be a little bit daft. Meanwhile, Mick Sutton already up into second place on the grid.
Yeah, I know. It's been great for Mick Sutton. He was saying, oh, can I get my first race win? This could be his chance, you know, as Luke Weston gets in for an overtake on Simon Thorpe. Simon Thorpe slow out the chicane and has contact with Simon Reed on the exit. Not sure what on earth happened there. It might have been a miscommunication of the position of the cars, maybe a late cover off from Simon Thorpe. It's difficult to really establish what went on there, because kind of everything went on all at once, it seemed, and then it kind of exploded. Meanwhile, well, Mick Sutton setting the fastest lap of the race so far up towards the front of the field on 18.1. He looks very good for the, to go for a charge into the lead of the race. Kobe Likens, though, give him credit to stay in the lead of the race and keep that gap to the rest of the field, because it is essentially Likens, Sutton, and then a big gap until he can get to third place, Luke Weston.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely been helped by the safety car. Kobe did a great start there to help pull away, and that's what's really gave him that breathing room. Andy Dorman now with a fixed car back out on track. Yet again, you know, it's a shame to say, but I said this last race, the red mist will have properly set in now for Andy, and you watch the fastest lap going to be done by Andy Dorman now. You know, flat out full determination.
Yeah, while it gets the fastest lap, that is only 1 point you'd be scoring, not the 20 points for a race win, and not as well the extra points he would have gotten for all the positions he made up from his grid position. So it's a small comfort, but if you look at the standings, it won't be a comforting picture at the end of this round, that's for certain. Let's have a look at this. Sam Milner, and that was Simon Reed getting through on him, I believe, into Redgate. So good little overtake from Simon Reed. He could find himself up on the podium still. with Luke Weston and Kobe Likens in front. And Kobe Likens, my eyes still do not deceive me. He's up into the lead of the race still so far, being able to keep Mick Sutton behind. So great job from Kobe, considering the mistakes he was sort of suffering in the first race. Maybe this wasn't to be expected, but he's coming on great, and that's why we need this series and why we love it, is because the drivers, they built the series to adapt, and we see it happening in the space of 10-15 minutes the drivers adapt.
Yeah, you're right. This is actually a really good performance currently by Corby. It's a bit that line Mick Sutton there takes through the last chicane, to me, worries me. It's still a perfectly legal line, but the way the car hops and bounces, it's a bit of a gamble whether or not the car's going to land and bounce and go on the grass like we saw the previous race, or whether it's going to land and he's going to carry on. So it's a bit of a sketchy line there by Mick, and it might mean that he's taking a bit more chance than he needs to. This is a good point haul moment for his championship.
Yeah, Mick Sutton, you say that he's doing a weird line and the car bounces a lot, but it is enough for him to take the fastest lap of the race so far. 1 minute 18 dead, near enough for Mick Sutton. Not able though to really close in and go for a move on Kobe Likens. He gets there, he gets close enough, but not really to make any positions. And then looking further back at Andy Dorman with his fresh car, he's setting personal bests. There could be a fast lap coming through for those drivers as well. Andy Dorman might be getting that extra bonus point later on. Let's watch Mick Sutton again through this chicane though, just to see this sort of line he takes really over the curb there. Doesn't even go for the curb at all, completely goes over the grass.
Yeah, the car didn't actually bounce that badly there that time, but that's what I mean. It's that inconsistent. It's just one of them where sometimes it'll reward you with the lap time, but
I've just remembered that was what we saw on the last race, wasn't it? Where Mick Sutton, that curb really got to him at the end of the race, really messed him up. So while it is working for him to be quick over the space of one lap, good for qualifying, is it the best strategy in the race? Well, only time is really going to tell us that fact. Mick Sutton, in his pursuit of the race lead, of the race victory, is closing in to Kobe Likens. But with 9 minutes to go, Kobe is doing a good job of really keeping Mick at bay.
Yeah, definitely that. This is really quite a standout drive actually for Kobe to be dealing with a pressure like this. It's probably about time we start thinking about drivers that's impressed us here as well, Ed. It's only less than 10 minutes left of race 2, and if I'm honest, a driver that's quite impressed me is Alex Bennett. For me, race 1 qualified just inside the top 10. I think he qualified 9th and got himself up to 6th place, and yet again he's found himself into 6th place here in race 2. So quite a good drive at the moment by Bennett, and quite impressive that he's driving within himself. I hope I don't do a commentary curse here. As a little slide through the chicane there, but just driving within himself and not really making the mistakes that we're seeing a few of the other drivers do.
Yeah, and another driver that's kind of flown a little bit under the radar has been Sam Milner, but he came 4th, didn't he, in the first race, 5th at the moment. Great performance from Sam, and we haven't really seen much of Sam, have we? But maybe that's good news for him, because oftentimes we've cut to drivers there side by side and then crashing into one another. So thankfully Sam's been able to keep it nice and consistent. And again, I'm going to have to say that I hope that's not the curse of the commentator, and that Sam Milner was going for a very good result. Other drivers, though, we can highlight here are, Mick Sutton up in 2nd place. Could be on for his first race victory of the season, and I believe...
Oh, yeah. Good point,
sure
actually, Ed.
This is something to mention, but Mick Sutton, from my memory, this is going to be his 6th podium, because I don't think he's finished off of the top 3 positions.
Yeah, and you know what? You touched upon... Oh, there we go! The line choice there through the chicane is bitten Mick yet again. That lack of consistency. I tell you what, Kobe's looking in his mirror thinking, what's happened here? Mick's dropped right off, and I could actually win a race.
Oh my word. So, Kobe Likens, this could be a great chance for him to win the race. What is the gap now between first and second. Mick Sutton just about hangs on to second place throughout all of that, throughout that massive moment through the chicane. He's about 5 seconds back, and that's a big margin, isn't it, to close down over 7 minutes. We know Mick Sutton has the pace, we know he's quick, but the thing is, Kobe Likens' race pace has been excellent, consistent 1 minute 18s. There haven't been any drivers, apart from Andy Dorman towards the back, that's dipped into 1 minute 17. So, fastest lap goes to Andy Dorman. We missed that come up on our timing live, so sorry about that. But what we are seeing is a live fight, second place. And again, look at this. Luke Weston with the drive out of Coppice goes for the narrow line into the chicane. Is he going to be able to get it to stick? Will the car be unsettled over the bump? Is there going to be contact? Mick Sutton forces a tight line on Luke Weston, says you go in there whether you like it or not, and you're going to slow down and you're going to let me take second place. But I think it's only a matter of time, potentially, until we see Luke Weston up in second place.
Yeah, I'm trying to take this in. Corby's looking absolutely phenomenal every lap. 18 solid across the board, and he's holding his own at the front, not been under pressure. Touch wood, commentary curse. Hopefully I don't do anything there. But I tell you about pressure, Mick Sutton is having to reel this one in with Luke Weston right on his bumper. I tell you, if anyone's feeling the pressure, it will be Mick here right now.
Yeah, he will. It's going to be excellent, though, isn't it? This little fight again. Mick Sutton has to cover off the inside, gets the bump up the rear for good measure. Luke Weston, he's not going to give this up. He's going to go for it. He can see plenty more championship points to be gained. And is that a cutback? Is it going to work for him coming through Coppice? You know what? Again, the inside line goes the way of Luke Weston. Down into the chicane. And this time he's got more than just a nose on the inside. He's got a car fully alongside. This could be his chance to get second position. And I'll tell you what, he will. So Luke Weston, as long as he doesn't run too wide and lose out, no, he doesn't, is going to take second place ahead of Mick Sutton. And look who else is joining the fight. Simon Reed can smell a podium as well.
Yeah, he can. Mick Sutton here trying to send the dummy, and I think he is. Is he going to commit to the inside line here? He is indeed, with a late dive up the inside. Mick Sutton with a little bit of a catch of that inside curb, just enough to send him sideways. Look at Simon Reed going side by side down Craner curves.
Oh my word, this is exciting stuff, isn't it? I always can't bear to watch. We've seen this end in tears several times over, drivers fighting this closely, but they just managed to get through, settle their differences before the run into the corner. I think Simon Reed took the smarter option of just backing out, didn't take the risk. He knows he's going to be on to bag some break points. He's already got the race victory under his belt, don't forget. So he's just looking to score some decent points, considering as well one of his main championship rivals, Andy Dorman, has had a very poor first and an even worse second race.
Yeah, you're right there. I really do feel for Andy Dorman. It's been a bit of a disastrous night for him, unfortunately, in the point haul. Meanwhile, Kobe Likens up front, still consistently setting low 118s, lap in, lap out. Put it this way, Luke Weston's last lap, 119, Mick Sutton last lap, 119.4, Simon Reed last lap, 119.9. So that really tells you the speed that Kobe's lapping here. I tell you what, I've got to put him in the hat. I think probably at the moment, driver of the day. It's looking promising.
Was there a moment there between Mick Sutton and Luke Weston there coming out of Redgate? I saw Luke Weston get massively loose on the exit there, and I think that might have been Mick Sutton with a slight tap that then chose to lift out of the throttle, not wanting to have a bump and run overtake, instead wanting to get it nice and fair. So this is looking very close. It could have been internet issues though for Luke Weston, I'm just seeing. So it's worrying, isn't it, for Mick Sutton, because he could get caught up in those lag moments and could get cannoned across the circuit.
Yeah, he could, and this is what you deal with sim racing. For all our servers have absolutely fantastic internet quality, you still can't control how fast someone's internet is from their house to our server, and that's what we're seeing here. Luke Weston's got what we call the rubber banding effect a little bit. It seems to have leveled itself out now. Actually, looks a lot more consistent. Luke Weston there with maybe a slightly faster actual run through the chicane. Simon Reed looking very, very quick through the last chicane as well. So I tell you what, I don't think this battle for second place is done yet.
No, it certainly isn't. And look, Mick Sutton again goes to the inside, and again, oh, is there going to be contact? There is, and that was a tap from Mick Sutton there on Luke Weston. Luke Weston off on the left-hand side of the circuit. He can't really go any further left there. That could be one to be looked at by the stewards, and that might be Mick Sutton getting pinged there. He's not out of the woods yet, is he? He's in second place, but Simon Reed went for a little look into the old hairpin and, well, whisper it, but Kobe Likens, he could be very good for a race victory now, as long as he's able just to nurse the car home with, 8 seconds gap to second place. He just needs to go at a pedestrian pace, just a Sunday drive like you go into the shops, not a care in the world for Kobe Likens, and he's going to take his first race of the season.
Yeah, you know what? I cannot wait to interview him and see what his reactions like to possibly win his first VRRC race. I imagine he'll be really quite ecstatic. I know you maybe don't know Kobe here, Ed, but he's one of them drivers. I imagine this probably means a lot to him.
Oh, you can just tell, can't you, though, that he's been such a... I think we've had a couple of words to him before, but he's going to be so great to see him come across the line and take the checkered flag. It's been a great race from him, hasn't it? He got up into the lead of the race early doors, and that was him putting himself in the greatest spot to take the race victory. And you can say, oh, this reverse grid helped him out, but he didn't start fully up the front, did he? He still had places to make up, still had a fight to do so. This is a race victory purely on merit, and this is it. This is why we love this Academy series, it's because it develops the talent, develops the drivers to think not only about getting quicker, but also about the race management. And if there's one thing you can say that Kobe Likens has done brilliantly from start to finish, is his managing of the race, as well as that period in the middle where he had to soak up loads of pressure from Mick Sutton. He weathered the storm, he kept his head down, and now there's just a chicane to go for Kobe Likens before he's going to take his first ever race victory here this season. And what a way to do it here. Kobe Likens, he's going to come across the line to win his first ever race. Go on, sunshine, take a bow. What a drive it was from Kobe. Meanwhile, in the background, we can see Mick Sutton takes home second place.
Sam Milner.
And Simon Reed completes the top three. And, Sam Milner, yeah, there was a mistake there. Was at the chicane. He's going to come across the line just about in fourth place.
Oh, Bennett and Thorne.
So many drivers having mistakes on this final chicane. You're right there. That is... Oh, my word. What on earth happened there for Alex Bennett? Simon Thorpe comes through in sixth place. Wow. Oh, wow. Drama. Late drama at the end. But that's not going to overshadow, is it, the performance of Kobe Likens? And tell you what, not only has he been one of the most improved drivers, I think that's got to be driver of the day for that man.
Yeah, I think it does. You're right. For me, his work was done when it came round to the safety car, and he got his gap, held his head, held his advantage, and brought home the big win.
Yeah, so that's going to be an excellent little interview for you to have, Dave. And speaking of interviews, well, the drivers, they've all lined up for you. They're eager to have a word with you. So oblige them, Dave. Have some words with our top three.
Yeah, I'm going to jump straight down to Simon Reed. That looked like quite a difficult grid to actually try and get through the pack there. It wasn't quite as easy sailing, was it, as race one to actually make momentum and bring home the victory.
Absolutely. Where I was struggling at the start of the race was to get through the pack, and I lost too much time there trying to make some moves that perhaps I should have waited off for.
Yeah. Well, I was saying how key it was at the start of the race. Any moves that you don't quite manage to pull off, or any sort of battling in key places like the bottom of the old hairpin, you sacrifice a lot of exit speed all the way up the hill, and it can cost you half a second a lap as soon as you start battling. So I think that's probably what you got accustomed to there, Sam. But still, you can't really complain with that. Another podium finish. Have you been off the podium this championship?
No, absolutely. Yeah, third is great to be on the podium, and I think I have been on the podium for every race so far. Nearly didn't happen, but then Luke fell off, and yeah, that got me back on the step.
Well, congratulations, Simon. Another great point haul. Unfortunately, a difficult one for Andy Dorman tonight. So, for championship point, it was a really, really advantageous haul for you tonight.
Yeah, it's still worked out well for me, but yeah, hopefully I can go back and win some more coming up.
Spot on, Simon. And we'll move to our P2 finisher there, Mick Sutton. I'll say the same thing to Simon. It wasn't an easy second race in comparison to the race one, was it?
No, it wasn't at all. I thought, the start was difficult. I know Andy had a problem on the first corner. Somebody, I think, spun in front of him. He hit them, and then I hit him up the backside. But we managed to both keep going, and I thought me and him would sort of follow each other through the pack. And then we came down to the chicane at the end, and he just went off left. I don't know what happened, whether he had some technical issues. And then I caught Luke, and Luke was rubber banding. Everybody.
Yeah, we did see that on stream, and I was saying,
it was really, really difficult trying not to hit him. And unfortunately, we did have some contact into the first corner. I don't know whether. Yeah, it was the rubber banding. There's no question. I didn't obviously purposely hit him. I would never do that. So it's unfortunate for Luke, but that was the reason. It was awful trying to drive behind him. Terrible.
Yeah, I did say when we saw it on stream, I said, it's one of them things. We've got the fastest service we can possibly have, but you can't affect the internet speed from that person to the server. So, yeah, it's a hard enough job for you to try and get past him to start with, never mind trying to guess where his car is. So, a bit of an unfortunate scenario, Mick, but yeah, great points haul tonight, and looking forward to seeing what you do next round.
Yeah, I'm really happy with P2, and I'm ever so sorry for Luke, because we're having a great little battle there. But I was having to work very hard to, because it was awful. He was in my car, then he was out my car. It was awful, terrible. Anyway, there you go. It's life.
Spot on, Mick, and we'll see how you get on next round.
Oh, and well done, Kobe, by the way. First win. Good lad. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we'll move on to our P1. First VRRC victory. And it was all done with a safety car, wasn't it? You got a brilliant gap away from the safety car. I'm not saying it was job done there. You obviously had to, keep your head and make sure you kept it on the track and defended well. But that really gave you the good advantage from there onwards.
I tried to keep the gap or extend it, but suddenly Mick Sutton came in, and I just tried to be really, really consistent. And apparently that driving got me finished first.
Yeah, how do you feel? Your first victory, and it probably feels very much deserved for you. You drove very, very well. As you said, it was consistent every lap within that 118 barrier, which is really what you need to be setting every lap. And you must have been looking in your mirror going, well, where did they keep going? They just kept dropping away and either getting spun or battling, and you just kept extending your lead.
Yeah, man, it felt really, really great. To be honest, the first race was a disaster, but because then I totally did not expect this to happen.
Well, it must be a great relief for it finally happening. I'm hoping you might see that this is a bit of momentum now you can carry into the next round.
Yes, indeed. Once I found the momentum, then I can really do some consistent laps, but I still need to work on my lap time, because I'm still a second behind or so at the rest.
Well, great position tonight, Kobe, and we were all rooting for you at the end there to bring it home, and you finally did. So huge congratulations, Kobe, and looking forward to see what you do next round.
Thank you. As you told in the first round, I'm the guy to watch.
Well, spot on, Kobe. Speak to you later.
Thank you, man.
Oh, what a feel-good story that was. Hey, Dave, that was a brilliant drive, a brilliant evening's racing as well. Well, I've really been happy to be a part of. We can see their standings up on your screen. Summary coming out of this on top. 121 points to his name, ahead of Mick Sutton and Andy Dorman, but these are all provisional results. Don't forget the penalties could still be applied. There might be some post-race stewarding to go on, because we did have a couple of safety cars this evening, didn't we? A little bit of a hectic evening, shall we say, Dave, but one with a great story of Kobe in the middle.
Yeah, we didn't. You know, this is starting to turn into a championship of two halves here. You know, you can see the top three are, quite significant with the triple digits. You know, that battle there, I imagine, is going to go all the way down to the wire towards the end of the season. But then, if you look from fourth all the way back to ninth, that wins really brought Kobe back into the equation there. And look at that, between fifth and eighth place, 3 points. I mean, this is going to be a one to watch towards the end of this championship.
It really is, yeah. And don't forget, the next round comes up very quickly, doesn't it? A week's time, we go to Snetterton, just 20 minutes drive from my back garden. It's going to be a great round, the Snetterton 300 circuit as well. So plenty of time for drivers to showcase their talents. It's a tricky circuit to get right, so you might have your work cut out for your day for your track guide.
Yeah, I think that might take a few more laps to get a good lap put in round Snetterton 300. It's a difficult track, and really, if you ask any driver, it's the true test for me of all the different parts of different tracks. You know, you've got the long cambered corners, you've got the long straight to test out the outright speed of a car. It's a great track to test at.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got that to look forward to, and then as well, season closing rounds at Thruxton and Cadwell Park. But don't forget, tomorrow we have the next round of the League of Champions Touring Car League with the second round there at Magione, and you're going to be on board with that, Dave, with Jack Oliphant. And what would we be expecting from that?
Well, it's to be fair, we don't really know. First round was at Donington. You know, it was absolutely frantic racing, incredibly close. You know, going into the second round, we then got ballast, so we really don't know what to expect, bringing 60 kg of ballast for our top position finisher in the second round. So, I think if first round was anything to go by, the second round is going to be even more frantic.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be very exciting, isn't it, to see all of that unfold and keep it tuned to VRRC. But I think that's all the time we have for this evening. So signing off, I've been Ed May. In the comms box with me has been the wonderful Dave Marshall, Tom O'Farrell on the cameras. And with that, we have to say thank you, goodbye, and stay safe.
Between the two of them, the inside of Coates, Parker gets too heavily involved, and that's Whitehead and Coates.